The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 53. Their Past. The Xue Empire stood to the west of Deye. It was established by Xiu Sheng, one of the founding great marshals of Deye at that time, in collaboration with the Xue tribes. Xiu Sheng had then betrayed the Xue natives by suppressing them and deeming them as less than livestock. This was the current state of the Xue Empire. Although the country was still called Xue, at present, the one that truly held power was the Xue clan. As the previous emperor died early, his successor was the only son he had, Xue WuYi. Because Xue WuYi was still a child, the previous emperor had decreed for the prime minister, Xue WuYi, to be the regent in order to assist the boy. Though Prime Minister Xue WuYi held a powerful title, he actually come from a lowly background. He was a beggar whom the emperor had met by chance and decided to take in. Later, when the emperor had discovered that he was a highly gifted individual, he had adopted him as his son. He had also let him take the surname Xue and had ordered for him to be given proper education. It was said that before the age of 10, Xue WuYi was already capable of debating with the officials in court with his unique political views. By the age of 16, he was inaugurated by the emperor as the prime minister without any objections from the court. 10 years from the time the late emperor entrusted his son to him, Xue WuYi had taken charge of every aspect of the court with ruthlessness and ingenuity, making Xue the strong and stable country that it currently was. And Shangke, the Xue commander of the northern garrison, was his most capable right-hand man. Having Shangke mobilize his troops, this promptly only showed how much weight Xue had placed in obtaining these two jade mines. The group gathered in Xiao's Higa's study while a guard was ordered to watch the door. Xiao's Higa began, "How did this get out? Do you have a spy on your side?" The smiling Chang Zikang's face was now filled with dread. "I was too lax with the people around me. The spy has been found and I will personally deal with him once this matter is solved." Only then did Chang Zikang look less of a scholar and more like a general. Xiao's Higa was not surprised. "I will discuss this with the Xue Empire. After that, since you are responsible for the leak, we'll split the profit by 8-2, I'll take 8 parts and you'll take 2 parts. Chang Zikang was wide-eyed. "You're too evil. No way. I have to get at least 4 parts or there's no deal." Xiao's Higa smirked. "I have yet to settle scores with you regarding the fake news you sent me when you were in Yejing." "When did I ever send you?" Chang Zikang stopped and wondered about his statement. Once he had figured it out, he quickly glanced at An Changqing and argued, "It was all for your own good. If I didn't motivate you, you would never have taken any actions. Come to think of it, shouldn't you be thanking me instead?" And Changqing listened to their bickering and knew that their conversation had something to do with him. He tried to figure out the details, but the two were speaking vaguely. Xiao's Higa said in an assertive tone, "Don't try to be clever with me 8-2 or else, you'll get nothing." Chang Zikang clicked his tongue and frowned. Wait, let me reconsider. If anyone else from the Xue Empire had come to fight for the mines, Chang Zikang would not have had this headache. But it just had to be Shangke, the powerhouse of the Xue garrison. He was a Xue native who was born with incredible strength. No one knew how Xue WuYi was able to make this mighty man do all his bidding. Naturally, Chang Zikang was not his opponent. In the whole of Deye, other than the young version of the great general Xiu Sheng, the only other person capable of defeating Shangke was Xiao's Higa. Clenching his teeth, Chang Zikang made his decision. 8-2 is really not enough to share with my group. 7 parts to 3 parts, at least make it 7-3. Xiao's Higa's eyes lit up. "Deal. Tomorrow, I'll depart with you to Liangzhou." Chang Zikang. Such a quick reply. Was I being duped again? ******. When the discussion had ended, Chang Zikang winked at An Changqing several times to signal that he wanted to start a conversation with him, but was caught by Xiao's Higa. He gave him a threatening look and Chang Zikang could only give up and leave. Since he was a frequent visitor, he knew his way to the guest room without needing help with directions. After Chang Zikang left, and Chang Qing asked with some concern, "You're leaving for Liangzhou? Didn't Doctor Hu say that you have to take rest to heal your wounds?" Xiao Zhiga smiled and whispered in his ears, "Don't worry, there won't be a fight. I was only trying to scare Chang Zikang." Chang Zikang and Xiao Zhiga were under the command of Xiu Sheng, and the two had known each other for a long time. Chang Zikang was quite talented at leading his men, and this had allowed Liangzhou to stay safe and secure. However, Xiao Zhiga knew that he had a fatal weakness. Chang Zikang did not have a lot of guts, he preferred stability and seldom took risks. He knew that he couldn't win against Shang Ke in a fight and rushed to Xiao Zhiga for help, but he never considered that Shang Ke might not even want to engage in battle himself. De Ye and Shi Wei had been on cordial terms all these years. They would not risk war over a jade mine. As far as he could tell, the Shi Wei government may seem steady, but in fact, it was about to get turbulent. Xue WuYi had taken control over the court for so long, but the young Xue Wei emperor was also coming of age. It was high time that he would get involved in the matters of the court. Over the years, the imperial family who had been waiting patiently to regain power were also aiming for Xue WuYi's downfall. In addition, during his reign, Xue WuYi had also made many enemies by ruining their ill-gotten gains with his iron-fisted regulations. As such, Xue WuYi would definitely not risk stirring up a hornet's nest at this juncture. Sending Shang Ke was probably just a scare tactic. Listening to his explanation, and Chang Qing was in awe. Xiao Zhiga was truly insightful. He then remembered something and asked, "Wang Ye has spoken about me with General Chang." Xiao Zhiga did not expect the topic to change so suddenly and almost blurted out a yes. He looked back at Chang Qing and asked, "Why do you ask?" Chang Qing had been with Xiao Zhiga for this long, so he naturally knew that since he did not deny it, then it must be true. "Wang Ye just have to tell me if you've spoken about me or not." Xiao Zhiga glanced at him and thought about how he had promised not to keep anything from him. His Adam's apple rolled twice and he nodded awkwardly, "Yes." Without waiting for Chang Qing to ask, Xiao Zhiga sighed and went on to explain, "When Chang Zikang was stationed in Yejing, I told him to watch over the An manor and send me news of you. Didn't you ask me where the misunderstanding I had of you and Li Haiyun comes from? It was Chang Zikang who told me." That was some information to digest, and Chang Qing did not know which to be surprised at first. After deliberating, he stammered, "Then, you've known about me long before? How?" Xiao Zhiga saw Chang Qing's ears turning a shade redder and his lips arched with glee. He reached out to touch his earlobe and thought about where to begin. "It should be when I was around 9. You were about 7 at the time, probably still too small to remember." Chang Qing looked at him speaking in earnest and frowned. He had no memories of Xiao Zhiga before this. Xiao Zhiga continued, "That autumn during the emperor's birthday, he organized a hunting expedition in the outer palace at the Spring Mountain. The crown prince had stayed behind, and on that rare occasion, I was allowed to go. It was there that I met you." At that time, Xiao Zhiga's mother was still around. Although he was not favored, he was still a child pampered by his mother. He happened to see the young Chang Qing's round little jade-like face and liked it very much. The minister's children that attended were mostly around his younger brother's age, but they had obviously learned the art of flattery. Only Chang Qing was indifferent and stayed in one place, not trying to draw attention or give out pretentious praises. Xiao Zhiga found him extremely cute. Xiao Zhiga saw him sitting by himself and went to talk to him. Only then did he find out that Chang Qing was Minister An's third son. Everyone knew of the minister's capable eldest son and mischievous second son, but very few knew the existence of his third son. Xiao Zhiga could tell that he was a little timid, so he gave him a piece of pastry. 2 weeks into the expedition, Chang Qing had often come to find him. At a certain point, Chang Qing was late and Xiao Zhiga went to find him. It was then that he saw him being bullied by the second young master and several other young masters. The third prince was also watching with excitement. The young Changqing had cowered into a ball, seemingly adept in dealing with this type of situation. Even in the face of insults and abuse, he still kept his head low and stayed small, looking pitiful and helpless. Xiao Zhiga was furious. He rushed over and fought with them. In the end, even the third prince joined the fight. Although Xiao Zhiga had been practicing martial arts, his body was still that of a boy's. When the brawl was over, Xiao Zhiga had countless bruises and scratches on his body. Later, Xiao Zhiga brought Changqing back to his room and asked him angrily why he did not fight back or hide. The small Changqing then gave him a serious answer: if you hide or retaliate this time, the next time will be more severe. Xiao Zhiga did not understand his words back then, but he made him a promise: when he returned to the palace, he would ask his father to let Changqing become his reading companion so he could prevent him from getting bullied. At that time, he only thought that since Changqing was also not favored, it shouldn't be too hard to get approval. However, fate have always been fickle and many things never go according to one's wishes. Upon his return and before he had the chance to speak to his father, the Empress had told him that his mother had committed suicide. After that came years of struggles and extraordinary hardships. Without his mother's protection, Xiao Zhiga realized that his life could only turn arduous. And he finally understood what Changqing had said to him: if you hide or retaliate this time, the next time will be more severe. Xiao Zhiga had to grow up fast. In order to break away from the Empress and Crown Prince's control, by the age of 12, Xiao Zhiga requested to be enlisted into the military. When he returned many years later and remembered his oath, he found that Changqing had already forgotten this childish promise. But Xiao Zhiga still felt guilty for not being able to keep his promise. Afterwards, he could only try to pay attention to news about Changqing every now and then. Once he knew that Changqing was having a hard time at the Yin Manor, it was then that he requested Chang Zikang's help. Later, in order to avoid suspicions in the palace, he announced that he did not like women and asked the Empress Dowager to decree for their marriage. That's all there is. I saw that you have forgotten, so I did not bring it up. Changqing widened his eyes. He recalled that in the winters, when their allowance was schemed, someone would leave a basket of charcoal in their yard every few days. Whenever he went to refill his mother's prescriptions without enough money, the store clerk would always charge him less. After he grew up and found out that the pharmacy was under Madame Li's name, he had thought that it was Madame Li being kind to them. As it turned out, it was all thanks to Xiao Zhiga's attentiveness towards him. Changqing scoured his brains to remember Xiao Zhiga in his childhood, but it was no use. In the winter when he had turned 10, he had soaked into an ice-cold pond to save his sister who had been pushed in. The incident had caused him to subsequently suffer from a severe fever. After he had recovered, he seemed to have forgotten many things. I'm sorry, Changqing said forlorn yet longingly, I can't remember. End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 54. Going to Liangzhou. The youth hung his head low. He was filled with regrets for not remembering the past. He kept his eyes down and explained dejectedly, I fell into the cold pond when I was 10 and had a high fever. After that, I lost part of my memories. I didn't mean to forget. Changqing was deeply aggrieved. Such a precious past, and yet, he could not remember, leaving only Xiao Zhiga to carry out that promise from many years ago. Changqing was stricken with guilt, feeling like he had left the 9-year-old Xiao Zhiga behind. In this life, they had managed to clear this up, but what about the previous life? He had never given a serious thought as to why, even though they had never met, Xiao Zhiga had always been particularly towards him. From marrying him into the Wang manor to making him his empress despite the vigorous objections from the court, Xiao Zhiga had been determined to give him a position that no one could trample upon. In the many years they were apart, Xiao Zhiga had fulfilled their promise, but to Changqing, it could be considered a non-existent past, and he had heartlessly swatted away his husband's outstretched hand. And so, they had lived with one person keeping quiet and the other keeping away, missing out on each other, and eventually, met a miserable ending. And Changqing felt a throbbing pain in his heart. Like a spider's web, it gradually spread, and he had to clench his hands to relieve the pain. As Changqing was drowning in guilt from his ignorance in the previous life, a large and warm hand gently fell on his head and began stroking. "It's all right, I remember everything. Whatever you want to know, I'll tell you," Xiao Zhiga said softly. In truth, there was not much to tell. The hunting expedition lasted no more than 15 days, and the two had only spent 10 days together. As two unfavored children, there were no fancy toys to play with or activities to attend to, so they had stayed in Xiao Zhiga's room to share desserts and tell each other stories they had heard from their mothers. Those happy times did not last long, but it had been enough to soothe their soul. For Xiao Zhiga, that had been the last 15 peaceful days of his life. After his mother's death, he struggled alone in a soul-crushing environment, and after countless taxing endeavors, he had come to miss the simple and peaceful days. Chang Zikang used to express disdain over his passiveness. "You're the northern warlord, when have you ever been such a coward? If you really like him, then go and bring him back." And Ji Kao wouldn't dare to refuse. After all, he doesn't even like this son. Chang Zikang's words sounded simple, but it weighed heavily in Xiao Zhiga's mind. After many years apart, he had become the rumored bloodthirsty and tyrannical northern warlord, while although unfavored, and Changqing had remained pure and innocent. He had dearly missed their time together, but had also been fully aware that growing up, each would have their own share of experiences, and even the closest of friends would have to go their separate ways. Furthermore, they had only been together for half a month, and Changqing had already clearly forgotten about this period of time. Xiao Zhiga did not want to destroy the peaceful memories he had had with Changqing, so he could only watch him from afar, giving him a helping hand whenever he could. If it weren't for the Empress trying to interfere with his marriage as he came of age, Xiao Zhiga would not have impulsively given in to his obsession and asked the Empress Dowager for permission to marry Changqing. Before the wedding, Xiao Zhiga had always regretted getting Changqing involved due to his moment of weakness. Looking at the person in front of him, Xiao Zhiga felt blessed that things had turned out this way. Luckily, Changqing had never changed. "It's been so long, how could you still remember everything?" Changqing finally looked up at him and asked. How could Xiao Zhiga not remember? The happy memories that Xiao Zhiga had were too scarce, but they were the salvation that had gotten him through those dark years of struggles and bloodshed. "I have a good memory," Xiao Zhiga said to Changqing fondly. And so, on that day, under the warm sunlight, Changqing sat and listened to Xiao Zhiga recall their childhood memories. Although Changqing had forgotten, Xiao Zhiga's every word gave him a sense of familiarity. Xiao Zhiga told him of the time when he had been injured fighting off the bullies for him. The little Changqing had squatted in front of him with misty red eyes and puffed cheeks, blowing softly over his wound, and had said, "No will blow and the pain will fly away." At this point, Xiao Zhiga turned to look at Changqing and saw the brilliant sparks in his eyes. "That's how my mother used to coax me." With this simple sentence, the small Changqing had learned by heart to comfort the young Xiao Zhiga. Xiao Zhiga's eyes softened. He weaved his fingers in between Changqing's and held them together. "See, you actually remembered." Changqing looked at him and smiled. "Wang Ye, tell me more, maybe I'll be able to remember everything." Xiao Zhiga complied while he lifted Changqing and carried him back to their room. The next day, Changqing and Xiao Zhiga set out together for Liangzhou. That morning, Changqing was a little muddle-headed when he was woken up. He thought that Xiao Zhiga would also be going alone this time, since it involved talks between two nations and bringing along a family member was unconventional. He was reluctant, but not wanting to make things difficult for Xiao Zhiga, Changqing had not brought it up. It was only after Xiao Zhiga had asked him why he was not changing attire that he knew that Xiao Zhiga had always planned for him to come along. Xiao Zhiga saw him in a daze and seemed to realize something. I forgot to tell you, but there won't be any dangers on this trip. Aren't you interested in jade? I'll take you to the mine so you can pick out some good pieces. When An Changqing heard this, he smiled and went to change his clothes delightedly. The two then left the manor together. Because the situation with the Xue Empire was quite pressing, the trip to Liangzhou had to be made in haste, which required some horsemanship. However, An Changqing had yet to learn any equestrian skills, and taking the carriage would cause drastic delays to the trip. An Changqing was about to suggest staying behind when he saw Xiao Zhiga leading a majestic black horse towards him. The divine-looking steed was covered with shiny pitch-black coat except for its eyebrows and 4 sturdy hooves. Xiao Zhiga adjusted the reins while stroking the horse's mane, calming it down. He then introduced the horse to An Changqing. This is Ta Xue. Ta Xue wagged its tail and trotted towards An Changqing. It lowered its head and rubbed against An Changqing, who was a little astonished. He likes you, Xiao Zhiga reassured. An Changqing reached out to touch Ta Xue's nose, and the horse fondly let him do so. As a general, Xiao Zhiga owned several war horses which he kept in the manor, but An Changqing had never seen any of them. Seeing that An Changqing had gotten familiar with Ta Xue, Xiao Zhiga mounted the horse and held out his hand towards An Changqing. The road to Liangzhou can be quite harsh. I can handle it. An Changqing took his hand and was pulled onto Ta Xue, where he sat securely in front of Xiao Zhiga. Xiao Zhiga smiled, then let us go. Sit tight. Xiao Zhiga tapped Ta Xue's belly with his feet, and the horse carried them out of the manor swift as the wind. Ta Xue was originally the leader of a herd of wild horses that Xiao Zhiga captured from the northern desert. It took a lot of effort for him to finally tame this kingly beast. Since then, Ta Xue had been with him through thick and thin. Other than Xiao Zhiga, Ta Xue had always been aggressive towards everyone else. Chang Zikang had always been envious of this, but sadly, Ta Xue would not even let him get close. Watching the steed obediently carrying the pair away, Chang Zikang felt that he really should not have made this trip to see Xiao Zhiga. He pulled the reins of his horse and shouted at the soldiers who were still in daze, "What are you still looking at? Hurry up and follow." The trip to Liangzhou would take a whole day on horseback. Along the way were deserts and sand dunes with very few villages in between for rest stops. Fortunately, it was already springtime, and the sparse greenery added a little life to their trip. At nighttime, the group found a sheltered location to rest. This was An Changqing's first experience in the wilderness. Although his body was sore from the horse ride, he was still in high spirits, helping to gather dead wood and grass for the campfire. And since Ta Xue had been born in the wild, it had gone off to find its own food. The others went to hunt for food, leaving Xiao Zhiga to stay with Chang Zikang. Xiao Zhiga looked at his sweetheart not far away and unconsciously smiled. Chang Zikang sitting opposite of him saw this and complained, "Can you stop smiling? It's quite scary." Xiao Zhiga turned and gave him a standoffish stare before shifting his gaze back to An Changqing. Chang Zikang was unfazed and began to mock Xiao Zhiga, "Look at you, being all smitten by a lad." Although he had always known that Xiao Zhiga had a crush on a man, he did not think that it had been to the point of marrying him back to become his Wangfei. And looking at him now, this affection had reached the point of no return. The man even had to bring his spouse along when discussing state affairs. Xiao Zhiga said to him with indifference, "You're not young anymore, it's time that you should get married too, so you don't have to be jealous of other people's relationships." Chang Zikang. An Changqing had just finished gathering a bundle of twigs when he saw Xiao Zhiga coming over. Xiao Zhiga took over the load and put it aside. "Would you like to take a walk now?" An Changqing looked up at the dark sky with some concern. The moon and stars were already out. Xiao's Higa made a sharp whistle and moments later, Ta Xue's hooves could be heard. Seconds later, the horse had reached their side like the wind. The pair got on and galloped off into the distance. Chang Zikang, who was cruelly left behind, scolded Xiao's Higa, "Love has turned you into a fool." End chapter. The Tyrant's Beloved Empress. Chapter 55. Xue WuYi. The gushing wind howled by his ears and the scenery flashed by quickly as Ta Xue carried them across the desert. The only thing Changqing could discern with his eyes were the shining stars above. They traveled for quite a distance before Ta Xue brought them to a small lake. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, Changqing would have never believed that there existed such a pristine lake deep in the desert. Maybe because there was a water source that the vegetation around the lake was lush and thriving as seen through the lights lit by the fireflies hiding between the leaves. The moon and stars were reflected distinctively over the tranquil water as though there was another sky within the lake. Changqing got down from Ta Xue and walked along the lake in awe. Xiao's Higa let Ta Xue wander off to play while he followed behind Changqing. Changqing dusted off the sand of a large boulder and sat down. Looking up at Xiao's Higa, he asked, "This place is beautiful. How did Wanye find it? I used to camp around here during the marches to Liangzhou." Xiao's Higa sat beside Changqing and began telling him about his past. Back then, he had just joined the army as a low-ranking soldier with nothing to his name. He was traversing this part of the desert because his platoon was being transferred to Liangzhou. At the time, he was still a young lad and far less mellow than he was now. Being woken up in the middle of the night by his teammates, he readily agreed to join them in sneaking off to find food. They were all still growing up, so the food taken during the day had been digested by night. Remembering the lake nearby, they decided to go there to catch fish. After filling up their growling stomach, the group slept by the lake and sneaked back before dawn. This is where I got to know Chang Zikang. Chang Zikang was the ringleader for this mischief. After that, the war in Liangzhou had turned for the worse. They had marched with haste to provide support, but Liangzhou had still incurred heavy losses. Among the group that had sneaked off to catch fish, only himself and Chang Zikang had survived. It must have been hard, Changqing said when he saw Xiao's Higa's brows crease up as he recounted those events. Changqing was holding Xiao's Higa's strong and rough hand. His 10 fingers were slender and long. This should have been a beautiful pair of hands, but over the years, it had to wield weapons and weather hardships, causing the palms to be coarse and filled with calluses. Changqing had seen the hands of the other princes, they were all fair and delicate without any trace of imperfections. Princes should be well fed and groomed like the crown prince and third prince. Only Xiao's Higa had been mistreated from a young age. But Xiao's Higa shook his head and smiled, "It was hard, but it's all worth it. If you want something precious, you'll have to be ready to sacrifice something else in exchange." There was only Changqing in his eyes when he said this. In the last 20 years, he had indeed tasted hardships and oppression, but he had always remembered his mother's words, "Everyone in this world has their own destiny. Some will experience sweetness before they will have to face bitterness, some will have to brave tribulations before they can obtain happiness. Since my son has suffered much since childhood, he will have a happy life later. Just be patient, do not despair." These words had always sustained him through the years. Xiao's Higa had believed in Changqing to be his happiness after the sufferings. If the 20 years of torment that he had to go through was the price to be paid to secure a happy life with Changqing, it had not been a loss. Changqing did not know his thoughts, but his face looked serene. It seemed Xiao's Higa had made peace with it. He felt his pocket and pulled out a small paper bag. He picked a piece of pine nut candy from it and fed it to Xiao's Higa. "You'll have me in the future, there won't be any more bitterness. Is it sweet?" Xiao's Higa's eyes darkened as he lowered his head to kiss Changqing and at the same time, passed the sweet to his mouth. He then asked provocatively, "It's very sweet. Try it." Changqing was forced to receive the candy. He looked at Xiao Zhiga's face up close and his heart began to beat violently. The sweet gradually melted but the kiss still lingered. Until Changqing was dizzy from breathlessness, they held onto each other's lips. Xiao Zhiga supported his back with his hands and whispered, "It's still very sweet." And Changqing glared at him and covered his mouth, "Nonsense. No more kissing. My lips are all swollen." The look in Xiao Zhiga's eyes darkened. He stroked Changqing's back a little heavier this time and asked softly, "The guidelines. Have you been following it? I haven't seen you using it since you came to Liangzhou." Hearing this, Changqing's eyes widened and his face turned beet red. He stuttered and shyly replied, "It's done. I've reached the final stage." Back in Yejing, he had followed the instructions and practiced daily with the jade rods. There was no way he would tell Xiao Zhiga about this, so he was not updated on his progress clearly. Seeing his neck turn deep red, Xiao Zhiga chuckled and said, "When we return to Liangzhou, let's make love." Xiao Zhiga had too many concerns before and was unwilling to force Changqing. But now that they had openly declared their feelings for each other, Xiao Zhiga could no longer hold back. Changqing squinted at him and teased, "Who was it that refused to sleep with me before?" Xiao Zhiga laughed and kissed his hair, "I was wrong. Can you no give me another chance? I'll go look for Ta Xue." And Changqing wriggled out from his embrace and ran to Ta Xue. "Didn't you say that you'll teach me how to ride a horse?" Xiao Zhiga laughed helplessly and walked up to him. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. By the time they returned, the hunting team had already come back. A captured rabbit was now being roasted over the fire. Changqing was sitting on Ta Xue while Xiao Zhiga was holding the reins. As they approached, the soldiers were all stupefied. They had never seen the northern warlord this gentle before. It seems marriage could indeed change a man. As the soldiers tried to act normal and kept their eyes to themselves, only Chang Zikang dared to move a muscle and spoke disapprovingly, "We are here to discuss issues of national importance with the Xue Empire, not for you to go gallivanting around." The words seemed to hit Changqing hard and he looked down with his cheeks blushing. Xiao Zhiga, on the other hand, stared at Chang Zikang menacingly and said with disdain, "Say one more word and you'll be attending this meeting by yourself." This was Chang Zikang's weakness. He had no choice but to shut up and behave himself. Asterisk asterisk asterisk. After resting for the night, the group departed early the next morning. By noon, they had finally arrived at Liangzhou. Although Liangzhou and Liangzhou were geographically close, they had many dissimilarities. There were many foreigners with high noses and deep eyes living in the city, and even the commoners were dressed very differently compared to the general people of Dayet. Xiao Zhiga explained, "Since Liangzhou is right next to the Xue Empire, many of the Xue natives who were mistreated would escape to Liangzhou and ask for refuge. Running to Liangzhou would render them homeless, but it was a better life than being oppressed and treated as less than livestock." With time, a large community of Xue natives had settled in Liangzhou and many had interracial marriages with the people of Dayet. This integration introduced the traditions and cultures of the Xue natives to Liangzhou and eventually, created this unique diversity. Everything in Liangzhou seemed exotic and eye-catching to Changqing. He was in awe with the items on sale by the street vendors. After they entered the city and arrived at Chang Zikang's manor, Xiao Zhiga went on to discuss their upcoming dealings with the Xue Empire. Changqing had nothing to do, so he went to explore the city accompanied by a guard. Both cities were located at the border, but Liangzhou was clearly more lively than Liangzhou. Of the three cities bordering the desert, Liangzhou was the most frequently attacked due to the Baidi people's hatred for Xiao Zhiga. Therefore, its streets were not as bustling as that of Chenzhou and Liangzhou. Changqing browsed the streets and saw many interesting items. After going through 2 streets, he came across a tea house which had dancers performing with monkeys to entertain guests. Changqing was intrigued and decided to stop by. Liangzhou's tea was also quite different. What was added to the tea was not tea leaves but spices and herbs. It tasted strange at first but would grow on someone as one got used to the fragrance. After having 2 cups of tea and watching a dance performed by monkeys, it was time to head back. And Changqing was about to leave when he saw a crowd gathering outside the tea house and heard the voice of a man shouting. Peeking in between the onlookers, he saw a large man pointing a bamboo stick at a young girl of about 10. She was wearing a sleeveless top and a large leather bag in the shape of a fishtail was wrapped tightly over her from her waist down. She was sitting next to a large water tank, hugging herself and shivering. And Changqing grimaced. He squeezed through the crowd and tried to find out what was happening. It turns out that they were a pair of father and daughter street performers. The little girl was to wear a fishtail to imitate a mermaid while performing acrobatics in the large water tank. It seemed she hadn't been able to hold her breath just then and was being punished for her failure. Many onlookers disagreed with the man, but seeing that he was her father, it was not reasonable for them to meddle, so they could only try to persuade the man politely. However, the man claimed that they were trying to earn money for the child's mother who was seriously ill, and yet, she could not even do a simple act properly. The little girl huddled silently in a corner, her hair and clothes dripping wet. Until the man said that he had sacrificed a lot to raise her, the little girl looked up and shouted in frustration, "You're not my father. You didn't raise me." The man was stumped. He flogged her harshly and said, "Shut up. If I'm not your father, who is?" The little girl was scared, but she still insisted, "You are not." The man was furious. He was about to pick up a small stool to hit her when Changqing stepped in. He signaled for the guard to hold the man back while he blocked the girl behind him. No father will act this way. Seeing that Changqing's clothes were not ordinary and that he even had a bodyguard, the man was taken aback, but he still stuck out his head and said, "Mind your own business. This is my family's affairs." And Changqing ignored the man. He went over to help the little girl up but found that the fishtail-shaped bag had hindered her ability to stand. He let her sit down first and took off his outer coat to cover her. "You said that he is not your father." The little girl eyed him cautiously, trying to determine if he held any ill will. And Changqing looked at her with gentle eyes and waited patiently for her answer. Feeling that Changqing bore no malice, she nodded, "He's not my father. My father had died and I was bought by him." The bystanders heard her words and began pointing fingers at the man. If he were the girl's father, they couldn't intervene, but since that was not the case, and coupled with the fact that the man had been lying to them, everyone began to chastise him. And Changqing looked at the little girl with some sympathy. He contemplated, then turned and faced the man, "I'm taking this child with me. How much did you pay for her? I will reimburse you." The man was unwilling to let the girl go. After all, she was his money tree and had helped him earn a lot of money. "You can't force me to sell her." And Changqing had no patience to argue with the man. He glanced at the guard, who then cast the man a threatening look as he drew his sword from its sheath. The man panicked. He realized it was not wise to provoke Changqing and hurriedly said, "All right. All right. 500 taels. I bought the girl for 500 taels. He's lying. He clearly only paid 5 taels." The little girl shouted for everyone to hear. The man choked up and viciously stared at the girl. And Changqing took out 5 taels and threw them at the man. He told the guard to carry the girl and take her back with them. As he was leaving, he heard someone call out to him, "Sir, please stop." And Changqing turned and saw a young man dressed in blue smiling at him. He had a handsome appearance, but his complexion seemed a little pale. On his side was a beautiful maid. "Is something the matter? The fishtail covering that this child is wearing, if you don't remove it soon, I'm afraid it will hurt her legs." And Changqing followed his finger and looked at the leather sheath wrapped tightly over her lower body. He bit his lips and was at a loss. Although the little girl was still small, she was still a girl. It was inappropriate for him and the guard to strip her clothes in public. My maid can be of service if you would allow. We should find a place to let her remove the fishtail covering for the child. And Changqing thought it over, and seeing that he only brought a maid, he calculated that there was no immediate danger. He agreed, and the group went back to the tea house from before and booked an isolated room. After entering the room, the maid picked up the child and proceeded to help her remove the fishtail covering from behind a screen. Meanwhile, Changqing ordered tea and waited outside with the gentleman, who offered up his name amicably. My surname is Xue, given name is Yi. How should I address the young master? My surname is An, given name is Nu. They were complete stranger, and the man was being too friendly, so Changqing couldn't help but be wary. Xue WuYi said, judging by your looks, you are not someone from Liangzhou, are you? And Changqing responded, yes, I'm here on business. The two exchanged a few more words before the maid returned with the child in her arms. The child was wrapped in Changqing's robe, and her face was slightly blushing. The maid remained expressionless as she reported to Xue WuYi, the fishtail has been removed. There is no damage to the legs, but this child is not a girl, he's a boy. This prompted Changqing to take a closer look at the child. In fact, the boy had outstanding facial features if it weren't for the scale-shaped birthmark under his left eye. The little boy said nervously, he told me to dress up as a girl. That way, it will attract a larger audience. He clearly referred to the man who had bought him. And Changqing suddenly realized that he was rubbing the boy's head. He took his hand back and turned to speak to Xue WuYi. Now that this has been settled, I have to take my leave. Thank you, Xue Xiong, for today. Xue WuYi smiled and said, you're welcome. Let us meet again should fate permit. And Changqing nodded and took the boy away. Xue WuYi waited till Changqing was out of sight before turning to leave. His maid, Ji Xue, followed closely behind. Minister, are we going back now? Chang Zikang has already arrived. Xue WuYi, also known as Xue WuYi, nodded. It's time to return indeed. Chang Zikang should have brought along the northern warlord with him. Ji Xue said, should I prepare the carriage? There's no hurry. Xue WuYi waved his hand. Ji Xue, do you think that it's possible for two persons of unrelated origins to look exactly the same? Ji Xue shook her head and replied, this servant has never heard of such a thing. Xue WuYi meditated briefly before giving out an order, have someone do a background check on An Nu. Understood. End chapter. The Tyrant's beloved Empress. Chapter 56. Mystery behind the painting. After Ji Xue left, Xue WuYi stood by the window and pondered. Xue WuYi made this undercover trip to Liangzhou based on the premise that with Chang Zikang's relationship with the northern warlord, he would definitely ask for Xiao Zhiga's help. He had personally come to Liangzhou in the hope of making a deal with Xiao Zhiga. The Xue Empire had been being backed into a corner in recent years. From the day the previous emperor died, an undercurrent of unease has been surging in this seemingly peaceful kingdom. The late emperor had been weak in health and had begot only one son. When he passed on, the prince's mother, who was hailed from a powerful family, had been dissatisfied with him monopolizing control over the court. She had secretly urged the Empress Dowager time and again to meddle with the court's affairs. Furthermore, the several brothers of the late emperor had been amassing power, vying for the throne. Should something happen to the young prince, any of them could justly crown himself as Xue emperor. As such, the court was divided into distinctive parties, each with their own masters and ambitions. Although Xue WuYi had managed to enlist half the officials over the years, he had not been able to make any progress with the remaining half. For 10 years, he had watched his lord grow into a young man. However, under the venomous influence of his mother and those with malicious intents, the child had gradually grown estranged from him. With the current direction the Xue Empire was heading in, the Xue natives who had been oppressed for so long were bound to stage a rebellion. With this concern, Xue WuYi had wanted to implement a set of reformed laws after deliberate consideration. But alas, after discussing it with his confidants, they were still lacking in resources and support to counter the strong opposition that they were anticipating. A cool breeze blew past, causing Xue WuYi to cough twice. He then recalled the young man he had met today on the street. With hands behind his back, Xue WuYi closed his eyes and compared the youth's face with the portrait in his possession. It was indeed almost identical. The only difference was Nyo's face was more rounded and his eyes were soft. The person in the portrait had the same features but his eyes were more solemn. One was like the luminous moon while the other was like the burning sun. Xue WuYi sighed as another one of the late emperor's requests came to mind, a secret only inherited by Xi Wei's emperors, a legacy left behind by Xi Wei's first emperor, Xue Sheng. It was said that before he died, Xue Sheng had hidden troves of treasures in an unknown location. This was all that anyone knew. At his deathbed, he had passed to his heir a portrait and instructed it to be passed on to succeeding generations. Should they one day find the person in the painting, they were to give him that scroll and tell him that Xue Sheng had repaid his debt. Xue WuYi had no knowledge of the story behind this scroll, but the late emperor had entrusted him with this task. This was a debt owed by Xue Sheng, their ancestor. As his descendants, they had to repay it. That said, the Xi Wei Empire was established hundreds of years ago. Even if he had wanted to repay this debt, the beneficiary would have been dead a long time ago. At present, what Xue WuYi lacked was funds, and since he was not of the Xue bloodline, he placed little importance in returning the debt. What he wanted to uncover was the treasures hidden within the scroll. He had studied the scroll many times, but the painting itself held no secrets. He had put this matter aside, but surprisingly, his trip to Liangzhou had yielded more than he expected. The young man's features were so similar to the person in the painting that it could not have been a coincidence. He might hold a clue to finding those treasures. Xue WuYi grabbed the window railings and thought to himself, once he receives the results of the investigation, maybe he can take him back to Xi Wei to solve the mystery of the painting. And Chang Qing arrived at Chang Zikang's manor with the boy. The child was wearing his outer robe messily and his disheveled hair was covering half of his face, hiding his eyes which were looking around nervously. Considering that he had been soaked in water for too long, and Chang Qing ordered a servant to warm him up with a hot bath and had the kitchen prepare ginger soup for him to ward off the flu. The little boy listened to Chang Qing's arrangements obediently. After washing up and changing into a more fitted robe, he followed the servants to pay respects to Chang Qing. After dressing up, the child's delicate features had become perceivable. Even the birthmark under his eye was not as glaring. Chang Qing pulled him closer and passed him the ginger soup. He then asked for his name and whether he had any other relatives. Although the child was still young, he was quite mature for his age. In fact, Chang Qing believed that this child was actually very clever. The child answered Chang Qing's questions with honesty, telling him his name and past experiences. The child's name was Xiu. He used to live with his father in the mountains, but later, his father had died due to a serious illness. Before he died, his father had told him to seek refuge with an acquaintance of his. At that time, he was too young and ignorant. After leaving the mountains and entering unfamiliar lands, he had been abducted and sold off. Because he had pretended to be dumb, he had been passed from owner to owner until eventually, he was bought by the big man from before. The man initially wanted him to assist him with his street performances with the monkeys, but after finding out that he was a good swimmer and could hold his breath for a long time underwater, he had come up with the idea of making him perform water acrobatics in a water tank. As he retold to this point, Xiu was becoming furious. He is not a decent person. He always frequented the gambling dens, and when he returned after losing all his money, he beat up his wife and myself. Chang Qing shook his head and said, "It's all right. I've reported him to the local magistrate. Whatever bad things he has done, he will be tried for it by tomorrow." Yu Xiao smiled brightly after hearing An Changqing's words. An Changqing then asked him, "Do you have anyone who can take you in? If you have nowhere to go, you can stay by my side and serve me." Since he had decided to help the child, he should see it through till the end. Yu Xiao was still too young to live on his own. If he sent him away, he would be abducted again and the same misfortune could happen again. Thinking that it was not a big deal to feed another mouth in the manner, and Changqing thought that it was ideal to keep him by his side. Hearing his words, Yu Xiao's eyes widened. He nodded repeatedly and said without hesitation, "I'll do it." He then copied the gestures the servants of the Chang manor made and kneeled down to salute An Changqing. "Yu Xiao is at your service." An Changqing smiled and pulled him up. He patted his head and said, "You don't have to follow these formalities. There's nothing to do these few days, so you can rest for now." When Xiao Zhiga came back after his discussion with Chang Zikang, he saw An Changqing speaking kindly to a child. His eyebrows were raised as he looked at little Yu Xiao. Where did he come from? An Changqing told him about how they had met on the streets. "He's too young and has nowhere else to go. I decided to let him stay with me." He then introduced Xiao Zhiga to Yu Xiao. "This is the northern warlord. You can address him as Wang Yet." Seeing Xiao Zhiga, Yu Xiao was instinctively scared. But thinking that he shouldn't embarrass An Changqing, he gathered his courage, bowed and greeted him. Xiao Zhiga's expression eased up a little. He told him to rise and come with them to have dinner. Chang Zikang stared at the couple and felt his eyes hurt. He found an excuse and snuck out. ******. The next day, Xiao Zhiga and Chang Zichang left to meet with the Xue Empire at the border. The junction separating Xue and Liangzhou was divided by a range of continuous mountains which rarely had many travelers. Only once in a while would a merchant bring goods to exchange between the two cities. However, at this moment, two factions had set up camps and surrounded it with their own troops. Xiao Zhiga stepped into the front line and spoke imposingly, "Is the person in charge willing to negotiate?" After his words were heard, a man carrying a large blade on his back strode out slowly. He donned a plain black garment and had his hair randomly tied back. With a high forehead and eyes like an eagle, he gave off a commandeering aura despite his shabby appearance. He went forward, cupped his hands and said, "Shankai. I've long heard of the northern warlord's reputation." "Likewise." Xiao Zhiga responded politely. Since neither of them were men of many words, Xiao Zhiga went straight to the point, "Where can we talk in private? My master would like to meet with Wang Yet. Please come with me." With his weapon in hand, Xiao Zhiga fearlessly followed Shankai into the Xue camp. Inside, Xue WuYi was waiting for him. Xiao Zhiga's eyebrows were slightly raised at the sight of Xue WuYi. Xue WuYi studied him before stepping forward and said with a smile, "I've been looking forward to meeting Wang Yet, the Deya Empire's mighty god of war." Xiao Zhiga was not a person of courtly manners. He said bluntly, "It's quite a drastic measure to disturb the great regent of Xue over 2 jade mines, isn't it?" Xue WuYi's smile widened. "Wang Yet is indeed wise. I came here in the hope of doing business with Wang Yet." Xiao Zhiga thought through and immediately understood. Xue WuYi competing for the mines was only a ruse for him to meet with Xiao Zhiga. As for the reason, Xiao Zhiga couldn't figure it out. Xue WuYi was well known for being a smiling fox. He was highly resourceful and business-oriented. He would never let anyone take advantage of him. Now that he had personally come to Xiao Zhiga, he must have something to ask of him. Xiao Zhiga narrowed his eyes and said, "We'll discuss other matters after dealing with issues involving the mines." The situation with the 2 jade mines was a little controversial. A larger area of it stood on Xue soil compared to Liangzhou. However, they were the ones to discover the mines and therefore, Xiao Zhiga was unwilling to back down. Xue is a small nation. We are not wealthy like Deya and frankly speaking, without trading treaties, a commodity like jade is not marketable to us. Xue WuYi observed Xiao Zhiga's expression and continued, if Wang Ye wants the mines, I'll be happy to let you have them. Xiao Zhiga looked back at him with piercing eyes, and the condition? Xue WuYi smiled, this is the business that I wanted to discuss with Wang Ye. He glanced at Shang Ke, who immediately understood. He went out of the tent and guarded the entrance. Xue WuYi lowered his voice and said, I will exchange these 2 mines for an oath from Wang Ye. Within 2 years, if Shi Wei does not provoke De Ye, Wang Ye cannot deploy troops to Shi Wei. Xiao Zhiga interjected, not to mention that De Ye and Shi Wei do not have enmities. Even if I give you this promise, it is not entirely up to me to make that decision for De Ye. Xue WuYi shook his head, this might be true for today but not necessarily so in the future. One day when Wang Ye can make decisions for De Ye, you just have to remember this oath. Xiao Zhiga looked at him and said, only 2 jade mines in exchange for such an oath, you seem to have overestimated them. Xue WuYi smiled bitterly, I have indeed, but I'm at the end of my rope. That said, Shi Wei is not strong enough to pose a threat to Wang Ye. This might be true for today but not necessarily so in the future. Xiao Zhiga used the same words Xue WuYi had said to him. Besides, Shi Wei still has you as the regent. How could you expect me to undermine its threat? And so, they had reached an impasse. Xue WuYi watched Xiao Zhiga walk away with an unclear expression on his face. Why beg him? I'm more than capable of fighting him, Shang Ke spoke disgruntledly through the door. It's not that you can't fight him, it's Shi Wei that cannot afford to fight him. Xue WuYi closed his eyes and waved his hand, you can leave now. Call for Ji Xue. Shang Ke stared at him briefly before taking off. When no one else was left in the tent, Xue WuYi curled his back and began coughing violently. His backbone protruded through his clothes with each cough. When Ji Xue arrived, Xue WuYi had wiped off the blood on his lips. He sat on the head chair and took a sip of tea. Did you manage to find anything? Yes, Ji Xue handed him a letter. After reading the letter, Xue WuYi finally showed a smile, any news from Zheguo? Everything is as your highness expected. The portrait in the manor has been stolen. The Empress Dowager had secretly sent envoys to bring the portrait out of Zheguo. They seem to be heading for Yejing. What a bunch of fools. Xue WuYi's eyes had turned cold. In order to overthrow him, they were even willing to trade the secrets of the treasure passed down from the first emperor with De Ye. How hopelessly foolish. Should we chase and kill the envoy? Ji Xue asked. No need. Xue WuYi smiled as he touched the letter in his hand. In it was the information his confidants had found out about Enyo. He would never have imagined that the Enyo he had met by chance on the streets turned out to be the Wangfei of the northern warlord. It was like being handed a pillow when one needed to sleep. Deliver this news to the northern warlord along with the portrait. From the letter, he knew that the northern warlord treasured his Wangfei above all else. Hopefully this deed was enough to shift Xiao Zhiga's decision. Ji Xue should be heading out on Xue WuYi's order, but she stayed and looked at him anxiously. Is your highness coughing up blood again? It's been some time since you last took your medicine. Xue WuYi sipped his tea as though Ji Xue's words were not referring to him, that medicine is too bitter. And taking it will make my body reek of herbs. I should die soon so those people in Zheguo can rest their hearts. Zhu Xie's expression turned sullen, your highness. Xue WuYi waved his hand nonchalantly, go on. I won't die so easily. End chapter.